Hello, as promised, this is part 2 of the hormones talk that we did live for one of our virtual retreats.
Hope you enjoy it.
Take care.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way. Onto my bit now, or are you still on your aging bit? No, it's fine. Simon's just giving Rihanna some advice.
Oh, okay. Yes, we're going to your
eyes all right?
They're very salty. I think it's that rain's brought out pollen.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about the menstrual cycle now. So, guys, this might be helpful for you as well.
If you're listening on the podcast, Claire's holding up a diagram. Would you care to describe it to us?
I don't know how I'm going to do that for the podcast. Anyway, I'm going to focus on this right now. So, ladies and, gentlemen as well, this is going to help you because it might help you understand us a little bit better. Hi, Kate. I'm just about to go into the menstrual cycle, and actually I'm going to kind of cover how it affects us in a positive way and a negative way with food and exercise. But I'm not going to go into loads and loads of detail. If you want more information on this, I'd gladly talk away about it. Right, okay, so what happens, we've got day 1 here. Can anyone see this?
Shall I hold it?
Yeah. So, we have day 1 here, and as we rise up, we're coming into our menstrual cycle is around here, day 15. Okay, actually I need to have a look at it, because as we're rising here, our hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are low, right? These are low before they start to peak. This is estrogen that peaks here, just before we start to go into our menstruation, into our ovulation. So our estrogen is beginning to rise here. Progesterone doesn't rise at all until around day 21. Okay, so what we've got here, when we're really low on these hormones, basically coming out of our cycle over here, day 28, we're coming back in the other end, this is day 1. When we're here, our energy levels are really, really low still. This is a time when we shouldn't be pushing our body too hard. This is obviously when we're still kind of menstruating down here, ovulating here. So basically our hormones are still low. We're low on energy. We might be low on iron. So for food, from a food perspective, by making sure that you're eating really iron-rich foods. If you are a meat eater, red meat, really, really good, iron-based vegetables. So down here, our energy is really low. So we shouldn't really be smashing massive high levels of cardio, pushing our bodies too much. Our endurance is pretty low here. So we should be doing things like yoga, lighter cardio, building up to the stronger workouts that we can do around this phase here. Now, what I want to talk to you about is once we get here, this is when estrogen is at its peak. So when estrogen is at its peak, we are able to really, really smash some workouts. This is when we're going to be getting our personal best. This is when we can go really intense. This is when we can do endurance stuff. This is when we can do immense strength training. If you really, I would love the ladies out there to start tracking this, because I have, and it is so true. I've got loads more energy just before I'm ovulating here. And I'm feeling great. I mean, you're literally feeling really, really good. This is also when you can have a more higher carbohydrate diet as well, because you are burning it off and you need it for the energy that you're putting into your workouts.
I was going to say, a lot of female elite athletes will actually manipulate their cycle to coincide with events, so they know they'll be at their peak performance hormonally.
So, the only downside of this, and again, I have completely noticed this with me, when you have a rise in estrogen, we are 3 to 6 times more likely to injure ourselves than men. especially ACL injuries or knee injuries. Yeah, been checking, and it's fascinating. I know, Zoe, it's amazing. This is because when our estrogen rises, we have lower rates of tendon collagen synthesis, and the higher estrogen levels here interfere with our neuromuscular control. So basically your form at this point is really important. You can go really hard and really heavy with your strength training, but your form must be bang on, because basically this is a place of higher injury. Okay, so progesterone is still really low, really low as well. So our tolerance for pain is really high. So again, this is about endurance. This is really kind of an amazing time to get your most out of your workouts. Okay, luteal phase. Sorry, that here is called. We go into.
Hold that closer for a second.
So guys, sorry if you can't see this. I might actually take a photo of it and put it in. So then we go into that's the follicular phase is here, and then when we go into day 21, we go into something called a luteal phase. So when we go into a luteal phase, this here, we're kind of feeling good. The estrogen starts to dip after we've ovulated. So we're starting to decrease in energy again. We're starting to go down, starting to feel a little bit more fatigued. Progesterone is rising dramatically in this curve here. You'll see we've got lower estrogen. It kind of goes a little bit higher, but it's this progesterone spike that we really need to look out for. Keep losing sound. Going to try and catch up later. Sorry, guys. It's really annoying. So progesterone is rising, which means that we actually have less tolerance for endurance, less tolerance for pain, less tolerance for strength. So as we move through this, we actually need to start reducing the intensity of our workouts, bringing it right down. I'm going to come to this little bit here in a minute. As we go into these dips here again, which is where we were here.
This is the end of the luteal phase.
Yeah, this is the end of the luteal phase. As we go down here,
28.
About between
listeners.
21 to 28, basically we have a high body temperature. This is when we're getting ready again to menstruate. So we've ovulated, we're menstruating. As we go down here, our body temperature increases. We're more likely to get cortisol spikes, which is that stress hormone, which increases our food cravings. We also get less sleep because we've got less estrogen, which kind of brings us completely back to everything that James has said already. And here we are reducing our serotonin levels as well. So down here, we're going to be craving carbs. We're going to be craving sugar, anything to lift our mood back up again. And also, we're going to be having a lot of water retention here. So we do need... Let's have a photo as it's backwards on the Facebook Live.
Oh,
Thanks,
no,
Claire.
of course it is. Mirror image.
I'll put it here.
Post it underneath after the talk.
But basically, we want to avoid salt here as well, because we've already got a lot of water retention. So really high salty foods are not going to help at all. So yeah, basically, in a nutshell, I'll actually speak this. Basically, when you're menstruating... your energy is going to be like really super low. Do things like yoga, lower intensity cardio. As we go into the follicular phase and we're ovulating and stuff, we're kind of getting more energy. We're feeling great. We can get our personal best intensity for longer periods of time. Also, our progesterone is still low, so obviously our pain threshold is lower. Then the estrogen starts to dip, the progesterone goes higher, and that's when we start needing to kind of pull back on everything. Our serotonin is lower. We actually can't, our insulin sensitivity is lower. So everything around that phase, you just need to be a lot more careful with your body, what you're eating. Your body temperature also rising is going to make you want to eat more. But again, just be really, really careful around that. The carbohydrates you can take on more rounds when you're doing all your intensive workouts. Try and steer clear of too many carbohydrates around the end of your cycle, going into day 28. I hope that helps.
Fascinating stuff, that. It really
is that fascinating?
Really
I find it really fascinating, especially when I track it with me. And also looking at your injury risk. That's so important. I find this, I've said to you, honestly, my level of like niggles and stuff is way, way higher when I'm ovulating. For those reasons. The ACL on my knees hurt a lot more when I'm ovulating.
Yeah, you were going to mention perimenopause and menopause.
Yeah, do you want me to do that now?
We'll go on to aging.
Yeah,
well, I guess it's linked to aging.
Yeah, so basically, just really in a nutshell, because I could do a whole thing on this. Yes, I agree. It's fascinating stuff. So, irregular estrogen levels as we're going into perimenopause, the menopause, all the estrogens all over the place. That, unfortunately, ladies, is going to promote fat gain. It really will. But again, what we've talked about here, and we've done this for so many women that are midlifers, perimenopause, menopausal, after the menopause, what we do works, how we structure everything, and the food and everything really, really does work. So you can pull it back. But just to know that your hormone levels will promote fat gain. So it's not you're doing anything wrong, you're just normal. Low estrogen levels also reduces leptin, which James has already spoken about. So that's your IM4 hormone. So again, it's about knowing these things. Awareness is power. It actually makes you a bit more compassionate with yourself because you know what's happening. So it lowers leptin, telling you that you're full. You don't have that as much. So that's why you're eating more potentially. This also means as we go through perimenopause, menopause, we also become a little more insulin resistant. James has talked to you all about that. Also, there's been some evidence that ghrelin in perimenopausal women. So ghrelin is your hunger hormones. It says, I'm hungry, hungry, like a gremlin. That's what I say, gremlin. It says, I'm hungry, and it wants you to eat more and more and more. So also that is rising in the perimenopause. Not to mention the whole sleep thing, because as your estrogen levels and your progesterone levels are all over the place, your sleep is massively affected. In fact, 61% of perimenopausal women say that is one of the worst side effects of it, is the lack of sleep, and all the rest with the cortisol levels rising. So just wanted to give you a summary of like the hormones. There's so much more. I mean, I could go into, I could have a whole session on this. But reach out to me, ask us, and obviously James and I would love to help you. But I'll let James. Sugar has a massive effect on my hot flushes. Yeah, Julia. I mean, it's that insulin, because you're basically becoming more insulin resistant as well. You've got a lot more sugar. You can't process the sugar so much. It's pumping around the body.
I was going to say, you've basically got like a little hormone cocktail going on there. You've got the three interplaying. So the leptin is your I'm full. That's decreased, so you're not feeling as full. Your ghrelin is raised, so you're feeling hungrier. Yeah. And then you'll become insulin resistant, so your body's not processing energy as effectively. So what it means in practice is you start eating more, but particularly probably more high starch, high sugar foods to try and get the energy kick, but then your body's not utilising them and breaking it down, so it's more likely to be laid as fat. And then add on the fact that you're lower on serotonin, because from the normal cycle that we have, we get low on serotonin, but at perimenopause and menopause, the serotonin dips as well. So you're going to want to be going for carbs, because carbs release serotonin. So you're going to be wanting to go for carbs. Also, most of your serotonin is created in your gut, not here. So again, it's that comfort eating. You're wanting to recreate those good feelings that you're dipping on around your menstrual cycle or the perimenopause or menopause. So that's why you're also eating. So there is a cocktail of things at play, but we do want to say it is completely manageable. It really is with diet, with exercise, and with mental and emotional well-being strategies. Absolutely, because it all needs to come together in one holistic process. Which leads us nicely to we're still going to cover 5 main areas. We're on the 5th now, which is aging, which links into this. This is really where all the hormones start to interplay. So as we age, there's a lot of physiological changes going on, both male and female, obviously. The main one is, as we looked at in the training section, decreasing levels of human growth hormone and testosterone, which means decreased muscle mass, decreased strength, lowered metabolism, weaker bones. Right, so... Well, you said that. Weaker bones. I know, but it's this thing that people don't necessarily realise. But exactly. That's why people get osteoporosis, etc. as we age. Now, you can offset this and future-proof yourself by training and fueling in certain ways to consistently boost those hormone levels back up again. So resistance training, like we saw in the training thing, like that hit followed by resistance, if you can do it, will actually help keep your HGH and your T levels high, because
Human
you'll over time just keep like almost on a daily or other daily basis or weekly basis, just keeping it up. So stopping your baseline dropping. That's the first thing. Resistance training as well, just on its own, of course, will add muscle mass. So that's going to keep your metabolism higher and help preserve your strength as you get older. Also, because it's a weight-bearing exercise, it improves bone density, making you less prone to osteoporosis. It actually makes your bones stronger, which is what we want. As we saw in the training, fueling at the right time is key. So these short bursts of HIIT, fasted, because we want to negate all those other things that Claire was talking about, the decreased leptin, increased ghrelin, insulin resistance. Training fasted will help with all those, but then fueling afterwards as we go into resistance, so that we're keeping the cortisol lowered and we can still get the positive benefits that we're looking for from the training. Other thing to note as we age as well, not necessarily like hormonal, but the collagen levels in our bodies start to fall. We start producing less collagen, which makes us more injury prone as well. So this becomes more important to warm up properly, stretch at the end, and also do flexibility work.
Mobilise. We get all of our midlifers doing mobility movement as well to kind of keep yourself flexible, for sure. I think, and then obviously, guys, like again, we have done on our virtual retreats before, we've done like a whole workshop on stress and how to manage stress. It's always going to be there, guys. It's always going to be there. And, certain levels of that stress are good. We need a little bit of it, stress and adrenaline to get us going, cortisol and adrenaline to get us going. But that constant hum, I hate to say this because it sounds really dramatic, but, stress is the silent killer. It's something you can't see. It's something really, really close to my heart because my brother's got MS. And it was definitely caused by an incredibly stressful situation in his life. So please do not ever underestimate the levels of stress you are under, and also working out ways and strategies in order to deal with that stress. Because, we have one life, we have one body. Our health is our wealth, and it really does start with what we're feeding it, with our own mental chatter, like we were talking with Zoe yesterday. And like that, the fear, especially right now, the anxiety, the fear, we are in control of what we're letting in. And if you're hiring those stress levels and raising those stress levels physiologically, you are going to be negatively impacted. So making sure you're training right, eating right, and managing those stress levels will have a huge positive impact on your hormones, which is going to future-proof your body completely.
Exactly that. I mean, we are slightly at the mercy of our hormones, obviously, but there are things, I hope we've shown you, there are things you can do to actually work with them, mitigate the negative consequences, and work with them and adapt to give yourself the optimum results that you want, which is what we do on our programme.
Yeah.
Right,
Guys, questions. I know that is a lot to take in. James and I are incredibly geeky, and we'll just go on about it forever and ever and ever. But we're really aware that it is so manageable. I've learned over the last 5 weeks. Oh, Julia, bless you. Yeah, so Julia, I hope you don't mind. Obviously, you've mentioned it there, so I hope it's okay. Obviously, she's been working with us, and over the last 5 weeks she's been working with us. She's lost 10 pounds and feeling so much better. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
It means a lot. Not from our perspective, it is lovely to hear, but it's also just making sure that other people know it's possible as well. We take our cue from other people that have been a little bit further down the path, maybe.
Oh, don't mind at all. Thank
you,
Julia.
Oh, thank you.
And you're doing an awesome job.
She's doing an amazing job. So we're kind of like a little bit, some people a bit further down the path. Julia, that's an inspiration to other people that might not think it's possible. So, and it really is. Really is possible. Like, we're the proof and our clients are the proof. And it's not about some magic pill or some like fad diet.
God, no, it's about learning what's going on with your body and then learning to work in harmony with it. No, Elaine, don't worry. Don't worry. Elaine, we're doing something different. Don't worry. Elaine, do you mind if I just say Elaine is one of my one-to-one clients that I work with, so don't worry. A lot of questions going out.
I'll speak to you about it. You're going to carry on with this anyway, so I'll speak to you about it. I do early morning here, first thing, as long as you fuel straight after. That's what Elaine's just saying. Sometimes, a majority of the time, and you know, everyone is different, a majority of the time, yes, fuel before your resistance workouts. How I do it is I actually have my shake ready and I will drink it through my resistance workouts. But there are a few exceptions, and Elaine is one of them, but I don't want to go into that right now. So yes, as a rule of thumb, you don't have to drink the whole shake, but going into your resistance workout, having fueled a little bit is really, really helpful. Fine. Good, Elaine.
So, team, I might just throw something in here for you. So, the only time we really want to have high GI carbs, so fast energy releasing carbohydrates, is when we're doing like an endurance event, you know, like we've got to ride a bike or go for a run that's really long. We want to get that energy immediately, or straight after you've gone post-HIIT and you're going straight then into a resistance training, because you want to get the energy to the muscles where it's going to be needed as fast as possible, and the high gel will act as a transporter, not only take the carbohydrate energy but the protein energy as well to the muscles.
Well, Elaine, you're staying with us, so absolutely that's something that we can cover with the midlife mastermind stuff, so that's absolutely fine. You're going to be on that. You've got us, babe. So we can talk to you loads more about menstrual cycles and tracking it and how to train. So
we got our supplements.
Zoe Gregory. And then Simon will come to your question in a minute. Any supplements you'd recommend to balance hormones? B vitamins.
Yeah, B complex, B12 in particular.
You are, Elaine. You are an exception. B12 vitamins. B vitamins are really, really helpful for balancing hormones. I mean, there are other ones, but we prefer to do it the natural way.
Healthy diet rather than things like stuff like iron supplementation.
Elaine, you've made me laugh.
Well documented, iron supplementation from non-food sources can cause constipation, which is another thing you don't want. So if you can get in sync with your cycle and just try and eat more red meat or high iron vegetables at that time, great.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm still laughing at Elaine. Elaine, I'm gonna. Elaine's messaged me as well saying I'm one of a kind. Basically, I was like, yeah, you are.
Simon, okay, running fasted. Yes. So the research on this is basically you don't want to go for longer than around 45 to 50 minutes after that time. So you'll start to see. Why we do fasted, basically, is we've naturally fasted overnight. So our glucose and glycogen levels are naturally low. If we train at intensity in that state, we're going to burn through that glucose and glycogen, and we're going to have to go to body fat for the energy, which is what we want. But so we'll get this like a curve of like results that we want. But if we go for longer than about 50 minutes, we actually start to get a negative effect. There isn't sufficient fuel. Our cortisol will come up too high. We'll actually start breaking down muscle tissue to provide the energy for the activity, which is what we don't want.
There are, however, as we've seen on here, there are certain exceptions, which is why it is really, really helpful sometimes to kind of, when we get to work one-to-one or in groups with people, that's why we assess people with a really, really thorough onboarding process to make sure that you know, that we're giving them exactly the right advice. But as a rule of thumb, what James has just said is completely, completely correct. Apart from certain people. No, I'm joking, Elaine. What shakes do you recommend?
We generally found the flashier the marketing and the packaging, the worse they are. I mean, you basically want to look for natural ingredients as possible, and obviously like low sugar. Some of the brands out there, you'd be surprised. Like, you know, you're getting a protein shake and then you find it's like 30 grams of sugar per 100. Personally, we use bulk powders because it's cheap and convenient. They deliver. And they do a natural range as well, so they have got a natural whey protein that's can't remember what the sweetener is they use, but it's naturally occurring. It's low sugar, high protein, not many nasties. I mean, they've all got little bits and bobs in, but
no, I haven't, Coco. I was about to come back to that actually. I just remembered when you popped through. So yeah, I mean, I've worked with like tons and tons and tons of women now, and it's not true. It is true and it's not true. It is true that we can't bulk to an extreme with testosterone, okay? Not sure whether to do lower weights or just do lower body without any weights. Okay, I'm going to come back to that. So, we can't, basically, genetically, we're more predisposed to building muscle in certain areas. Now, I know this because I have freakish quads. This is a true story, right? I can train. I can't do the leg extension in the gym, and I have to be really careful with how heavy I go on squats because my quads can become twice the size of James like that. Okay, so it's not actually true that we're not going to bulk in certain areas, but it is genetic. So what I normally say when I work one-to-one with women as well, or like in the group, if you are noticing that, then Coco, definitely bring the weight down and just make sure, where did you say you're getting it? In your hamstrings. Okay, what are you doing? Are you doing heavy deadlift? Are you doing deadlifts?
Or hamstring curls.
Or hamstring curls. She won't be because she's not in the gym. If you're doing deadlifts, one leg deadlifts, and also some of the band work, the bridge, that also hits, that's fine, Simon, it also hits your hamstrings. So it's actually just about knowing what to do while still hitting your glutes. Because what you don't want to do, hun, is not do any weight on the lower body and then still not be able to lift and target your glutes. I don't know why I'm doing these hands.
So there's a genetic factor as well, which is to do with our individual proportion of fast twitch versus slow twitch fibres. So fast twitch is our endurance. So at the moment, if you're training out the gym and doing kind of lighter weights, high reps, it could just be, Coco, you have a higher portion of your fast twitch, your endurance fibres than you do of slow twitch. So maybe if you lifted heavy, you wouldn't see as much bulking because you don't have as many of those types of fibres as you do of the endurance fibres.
So I bulk when I do high rep, lower weight. Sorry, lost you for a minute. What did you lose? What did you lose, hon? Lost you for a minute. Might be hamstrings. So, but yeah, basically we were just saying, let us know. We can talk to you. Coco's part of the academy, so let us know offline in the academy group. Pop your question in there as well, hon, because I'm just aware that we're coming up to a little bit of time now, and I don't want to. You lost connection. Keeps happening. It's really strange.
Let's go, so I know we're near the end. Any other questions before we start to wrap it up?
Basically, Coco, it's just making sure that you're tweaking your program here and there without you still need to do some weight for your glutes. You still will need to, because as women we have inherently lazy glutes. Hate to say that, but we do. So making sure that your glutes are strong, because that's also your core. So making sure you've got a strong core. Yeah, catch up with us after. I'm aiming for a body like Claire's.
Oh, bless.
Bless you, Victoria. Don't knock it. Oh, thank you. So yeah, we need to create a strong core, which is also our glutes. And not doing any weight on the bottom half ain't the answer. But let us know in the academy group and we can help you out there. At
the end of the day, team, it's all about applying this knowledge and seeing how your body responds to it and then tweaking off the back of it.
There are a few factors at play, and it's just about getting confident and knowing what those are. So interesting. Thank you so much. Oh, bless you, Elaine. I'm going to come offline and give you my rationale for doing something different with you. But yeah, that is actually, here's the thing. That is, I'll say it again, that is why sometimes it does help, having a structure with a personalised approach, because there are so many factors at play, and unless we know what they are and can talk you through them, sometimes you're just like that out there left at sea getting frustrated, bulking where you don't want to bulk, laying on fat where you don't want to lay on fat, and it is, it can be quite frustrating, quite difficult, but that's what we do these free retreats for. That's we're going to be offering another 5-day free challenge soon, so we try and give you as much information and value as possible, but again, it does need to be tweaked here and there. So, thanks, Zoe.
Thank you so much all for being here.
So nice to have you here, Zoe.
We'll wrap it up, so we have to get ready for legs, bums, and tums now.
Legs, bums, and tums. Talking about that,
Thank you.
Core.
And hope to see you all on the next workout.
Make sure you're there.
And don't forget the Zoom cocktail party at 1
I'm
o'clock.
going to drop a Zoom link in a second, and we'll get that all up and running. Coco, I'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks, that's been amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks, Zoe. Love you loads, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you, so drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah. What? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.